Alright guys, I'm doing a oil pressure sending unit on this nice 2008 Cadillac CTS. It's got the 3.6 liter. It's direct injected. The way you can know your vehicle needs a oil pressure sending unit is if you watch the oil pressure gauge. At least in this vehicle, it was bouncing back from 0 to 100 psi. It would go to 0 to 100 and it would go 0 to 100 randomly. The car's got oil in it and it wasn't making any funny noises, so didn't have any real reason to believe it wasn't getting oil pressure, so going with the sending unit. And put the computer on it, and it said that the oil pressure sending unit was putting off a over voltage, high voltage, something like that. So where it is, right here underneath your oil filter housing, you can see it right there. Get the camera to focus. Yeah, so it's in a tight spot. There is these lines. If you watch any other video on YouTube, they'll tell you to take off the power steering pump. Here's the plug that goes into the oil pressure sending unit. It's a 3-prong. But right, the return line and the pressure line from the pump, there's the pulley for the pump. And then there's the hard line that comes out of the top of the pump. You can't see where it goes into the pump because the rubber line's in the way, but you can see how it bends right there. And I don't know if you can see the little, there's the oil pressure sending unit right there. And that line gets right in the way of a traditional short socket. No way you can get a hand wrench in there, because if you look straight down, you can see the plug. Well, yeah, you can see the socket for the plug, but you cannot get a wrench on the actual piece. So O'Reilly's carries this special little socket right here. Oh, that's not good for the paint job. This was a 13200, I believe. I'll make sure I get the part number in the description. But it's a 1 and a 1/16, and it's specifically made for taking out oil pressure sending units. So it's it's a thin wall socket. I didn't think it was going to work because I've got a regular socket here. I thought it was going to be much shorter. It's actually a little longer. But I think the diameter, yeah, look at how much smaller around it is. It's a 1 and a 16th is the size that we need. It's the size of the pressure sending unit. But I was able to get it in there and crack it loose. This is the new one. The old one's still in the car. Man, there we go. So yeah, it's a good fit, $10 at O'Reilly's. And I needed to use a combination. This nice little U-joint here, because you really got to get in there at an angle. I couldn't get the socket actually completely on, but I got like 3/4 of the socket on, and that was enough to get a bite and turn it. So I'll go ahead and I'll put the socket and the extension on the pressure sending unit so you can see what it looks like. Alright, you guys aren't going to want to believe me, but when I broke it loose, I backed it out a couple turns. I don't know if you can see that gap between the sensor and where it seats. But now that there's a gap there, I cannot get the socket back on there. That's how tight of a fit it is. I mean, I got pretty thin hands, and I could not get in there to get the socket on there. But I promise you, I broke it loose. I'm gonna try again. If I can get it on there, but I might end up just taking it out if I can get it on there and start turning it. And I'm assuming to get it back in, I'm obviously gonna need to get it in there by hand first, and then try to tighten it up the last little bit with this. Alright, I'll come back. Okay, I got it on there. What I changed is I took off my little knuckle there. And I tried just using that little stub extension that has the wobble end on it. You know, one of these guys, it's shaped funny. It wobbles in the end of a socket. Not as good as one of these, but I'll show you, the back of the socket's so thin that this just pushed right through it and wouldn't even turn the socket. It was just spinning in the back of it. I'll show you that when I pull it all out, but as you can see, it's on the sensor. Let's see if I can get it to come out here. Yep, there we go. On fall. Alright. Didn't break or strip off, that's all good news. Alright, let's try to get this next one started. Alright, so I just dropped it, and it went way down and like got stuck on top of the cross member in a hydraulic line for the rack. And it took me about 15 minutes in a grabber to get to it. So be very careful, do not drop this. It's not metal, it's aluminum, so you're not going to be able to like put a magnet on it. Let's see here. Yeah, I still see the hole there. Alright, let's see if I can get this thing started. It's good practice. Your girlfriend will appreciate the kind of control you have with your hands if you do stuff like this all the time. I'm balancing it with one finger, and I'm spinning it with the other. And this is a good trick for all kinds of things. If you can achieve what you're trying to achieve here. I just need to get these threads to bite. Come on. Please be in there. I think we got it in there. Yeah, boy. Not an easy deal, but take your time and focus. Alright, let's see if we can slip that socket on there. Give her a little tighten up jobby. we go. It's bottomed out. Give her a little snug jobby. Oh, great. Come on. There we go. All right. So, I wanted to show you how thin. Back, look at that. See how thin the drive is there? Let me show you something. All right, one of these guys. Stick this in here. Look at that. It's just spinning in the back. Because it's in there too far. It's got to be like right there for it to drive. So you can't use one of these little wobble jobbies. Alright. So let's see, what have I forgotten to tell you? So to get this started here, I took out the air box, top of the air box, the plenum tube, this surrounding here, which includes all this rubber here. Take this rubber out. You know, this is I'm gonna have to reinstall this stuff correctly, because I just threw this back together last night when I couldn't get anything to work. But anyway, all that comes out. You can take that panel out if you want. Top of the air box and the plenum tube, which is down there. And then this surrounding. And the reason you take the surrounding off is because dropping everything. There's a screw right there for the air box that I guess this is supposed to be cut out here so you can get to it, but I don't remember being able to see it like I'm looking at it now. But it'll give you extra space, you know. You probably want more space than not. And it's just a couple of these little, you know, take them out with a flathead screwdriver, twist them out. These guys right here. They're pretty easy. You just back them out, lefty-loosey, and then pop them out with the screwdriver. You go back in just as easy. The air box they're torque bits. It's a T20. So you'll need a T20. And a T20 looks like I put it back on the, oh, there it is. Looks like this little guy. Oh, it's a T25, excuse me. But yeah, that socket is a lifesaver. I'm sure if I didn't have that socket, I would be taking off this power steering pump and the reservoir, because the hard line that goes into the pump is the real deal, is what's getting in the way. You know, you can see it. It's that one right in the middle of the screen that's down there by that sensor. That's the one that gets in the way. Your socket won't slide on there unless you got that socket I bought from O'Reilly's for 10 bucks. Like I said, I'll put the number of the socket in the description and all the tools I used. I mean, basically just some extensions, 3/8 drive ratchet, that socket, maybe a couple wobblies and stuff like that, torque bits, maybe a pincher grabber. If you drop that sensor down in there, it's not going to be easy to get. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching. I got other videos that I worked on this car. I've done the timing chain job on this car. I need to post that video. It's a bit longer. I gotta edit that one still. But if you guys are interested in seeing the timing chain job for this car, it's a 3.6 direct injected. If you guys are interested in seeing that video, comment, and I'll be motivated to post it if I see that people are interested in seeing it. I'm gonna be doing a video on the what is it? It's the emission valve that connects to the tank and the fuel tank and the vacuum canister up here. I forget the name of the valve, but it's a vacuum operated valve. It'll give you it'll make the car hard start when it goes bad. The car was having trouble starting right up, and you'd have to like floor it and then it would start. So I'll do a video on that one next. I'll post that soon and go from there. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Please comment, subscribe. I'm really trying to build a following, so do me a favor and subscribe. Thanks. Alright, so there was another challenge that I wanted to explain before ending the video. Plugging it back in. Very difficult. What made it happen for me was I ran my finger around the housing, the plug housing, and felt out where the stub that the plug locks onto was. And once I figured out where that stub was, then I twisted the plug on the end of the harness, so when I stuck it down in there, the clip was in the right orientation. It was clocked correctly, because I spent about 10 minutes trying to poke it in there and turn it and poke it in there and turn it and poke it in there and turn it, and I was just going at it blind. I really didn't know what direction the plug needed to be. I didn't want to damage the pins. So I got in there with my finger and just felt around the housing until I felt that stub that the harness clips onto. And then, like I said, I just twisted the end of the plug harness, because the wires will keep it clocked. You know, the wires are stiff, so it keeps it twisted where you want it. I would suggest doing that. You know, or mark the sensor. Mark the sensor with like a white white out where the stub is, so when you go to plug it in, you know where you need to line your clip up at. But I got it plugged in now, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the air box back in, the boot on, and finish this up here.